starting now.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me well, everyone?
So, my name is Julien Carbonnell. Yeah, we're starting. Thank you. My name is Julien Carbonnell. I'm an urban developer. I started my career with real estate development in the south of France. And yeah, I've been attracted quite early by the digital innovation and what's new for cities. I spent some time doing smart city projects. And at the moment, I'm starting, for 6 months, I was starting a new company doing tokenized real estate. So I'll tell you more about the idea of digitizing real estate on the blockchain. And we are starting with Metaverse real estate now. Okay, so that's the content of our talk today. We will discuss a bit about what was the 90s internet predictions. We will go by a brief history of video games, which will be very interesting for our topic. Then we will take a look at the state-of-the-art innovation technology, in particular blockchain and cryptocurrency, and then, of course, we will end up with the digital real estate investing. A few words about myself. I said that already, but I'm from the south of France in a little city called Perpignan. I started real estate development over there, and then I did a PhD in urban science, for which I started to learn coding in Python. I published my machine learning models in a book called Democracy Studio. More importantly, that's partly why I'm here today. It's also that I've been digital nomad for 4 years. So I'm traveling, I'm changing my city every 2 months, and I'm growing my network like that and meeting lots of interesting people. So let's start with 90s internet predictions. It's always interesting to see what most of the people, journalists, mainstream influencers were thinking about internet 30 years ago. And actually, mostly they were saying that it will collapse soon. We had some enthusiasts, of course, but we also had a lot of people that didn't trust this could be a thing for different reasons. But especially one said most things that succeed don't require retraining 250 million people. It's true that we needed to educate a lot of people to use internet when it started. That's also the reason when someone said it would be easier to get the Pope to become a Buddhist than to get the schools to change. That's quite funny perspective. Some other ones who invented, so Robert Metcalfe, that invented the Ethernet cables, said in 1995, internet will go spectacularly supernova and catastrophically collapse next year. So yeah, somewhat all these peoples were wrong. At least the reality now is proving that internet has become a big thing that everyone's using. But in fact, they were quite ambitious in their predictions. If we look at what was said in 1990 about Los Angeles of 2013, they were imagining some sort of flying cars, like hyper-techy buildings, and a future life that would be mostly happening on computers with this kind of device, the Power Glove from Nintendo, the sort of big mouse that could help you to interact with this virtual office. Of course, wearing a face mask, this headset. And so, well, that's interesting to see that they're foreseeing that we would have this kind of tech after some years, but it's much more comfortable than what they imagined at the time. And let's speak about video games. I really believe that what has been undervalued in the internet predictions is that people wanted to have fun. And actually, on video games, this is a good way to have fun in your house and a good reason to use computers and internet. So in the 90s, it started with real-time strategy games with business simulations. I want to speak about those three ones. Of course, there are plenty others, but these ones are popular. SimCity in 1989 was proposing you to create a city, to develop residential and industrial areas, build infrastructure, collect taxes, and further develop your city. It has been sold 1 million copies by 1992. In the same fashion, we had the game Caesar, 1992, which allowed you to do similar things in the Roman context. And the one theme park, I remember this one really well because I was playing to it, and my father was desperate because I was going bankrupt all the time. Of course, I was just a kid. I just wanted to build a very big theme park, amusement park, and didn't thought so much about making money and expanding my business. It has been sold 15 million times by 1995, so in only 1 year. In 2000, we started to have live simulation games. This one is called The Sims. Maybe some of you remember that or have played to it. You could engage personalizable characters in the daily life of a suburban household. And notably, you could organize your honeymoon, you could adopt a puppy, you could also burn your lunch or living the life of your dream as a wealthy elderly people. This game has been a big success, and it allowed you to simulate one life online. We were, let's say, at the beginning of what's now called the Metaverse, especially with Second Life. So these images are coming from much more recent versions of Second Life, but it's actually the same idea. You create an online persona called an avatar, and then you can go in virtual spaces to interact with other users online. And basically what you do in Second Life, let's say the first version of what we now call the Metaverse, you could go in the classroom to attend a course. You can meet your friends at the coffee. You can just simply on the sofa to watch TV, or you can casually go shopping with your girlfriend or boyfriend as you like. So yeah, that's basically the first version of an online virtual world that became open source by 2007 and recorded 1 million active users by 2013 from 100 countries in the world. Quite a big success for Second Life that's still existing and nowadays. Well then, we had something else, World of Warcraft, that's remembered as massively multiplayer online role-playing games. So in this one, it's much more about fantasy. It's not your usual life that you will play. Usually you create an avatar and you go in fantasy world to fight monsters. You create teams. You quest, you get some money, and then you can improve your character, buying some new weapons or armors, whatever. Something that's really noticeable from World of Warcraft is that we started to have accounts for sale online on eBay. And that's quite interesting. I remember some of my friends, they were playing, that was really a drug actually. I remember people spending their whole life online, not anymore attending school, not working, like they were just all day long playing to that game. And we were like, hey man, be careful. I mean, it's not saying what you are doing and you cannot make a living out of it. And the answer was, yeah, but look, I can make money, I can sell my characters online. And so there is still a business perspective. You can be paid for playing. This has been a huge success with 12 million users by 2012 and generated more than 9 billion revenues by 2017. Then we had Minecraft. Minecraft was about exploring virtually infinite worlds. In this one, you were more about extracting resource, building houses, structures, machines. This is the best-selling video games of all times. It has been sold more than 238 million times. And it recorded 140 million monthly players last year. And obviously what makes Minecraft being the last generation, let's say, of video games is that in Minecraft you can use it to learn much more. There is much more pervasiveness with real-world skills. And in fact, you could take coding lessons in Minecraft. You could get your kid learn how to code, start coding in this game. I remember there are also some architects that give architectural lessons on Minecraft, so you can learn how to build a house in this video game. Outside, the outside part of the house, but also you can do some interior design in Minecraft to welcome other users in your house. So that was quite interactive. And so, funny enough, we have this guy that's French popular political character from, let's say, far left. In 2017, during the political campaign, he said, our engagement to digital will be reinforced as we will make a meeting in Minecraft. So he was already popular because he did some hologram shows to pitch his presidential election in two cities at the same time. And so he released his Minecraft character, but that was a joke actually. He never did an actual meeting in Minecraft, sadly. But as you know, politics compete for the best and the worst. And so we had finally our president Emmanuel Macron holding a meeting this year actually for the last presidential election. I'm a bit lost in time, sorry. But so yeah, you could attend Minecraft to go in a meeting of Macron, you could see Macron there. And we also had Mélenchon, so the other guy, that was hiring influencers to raise money on Twitch. So the guy here was playing on Minecraft online and yeah, asking people to send money to Mélenchon. So yeah, that's the state of video games that we have nowadays. Very interactive with all the rest of the society. And so I would say a good means for development of innovation. So I would like to take an overview of the technology innovation that we have nowadays, and that is explaining what is the metaverse that's coming up. So it's a combination of different technologies. We have digital twin technology. The digital twins are virtual representation of real-world assets. And it can be synchronized with real-time physical assets, or simply a way to visualize data, historical data about the engine or the building that you are working on. Then the virtual reality is now a thing with this headset where you can experience an immersive virtual world by using sensors and this augmented vision. And so this is being used in video games, of course, for entertainment, but also in education for both medical or military training, and to attend different virtual meetings. Now, cryptocurrency is the core of our topic here in the metaverse. Digital cash has been released in 2009 the name of Bitcoin. It's the first and still the most popular cryptocurrency worldwide. It represents 45% of the market capitalization with a total of 565 billion valuation by June this year. It's actually quite simple to use. You have a public key here on the left that you can share to receive money, and you have a secret key that you hold for yourself for the moment where you want to spend your money. In 2014, we started to see some Bitcoin ATMs, so you can also get actual cash from your Bitcoin accounts. And in terms of value, it's quite crazy. Of course, these days, you probably have heard that Bitcoin went really down and there is a third crash of the history of Bitcoin. It's true, but if you remember that when it started in 2010, 12 years ago, this guy just bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoins. And when you think about that, yeah, look at the value. In 2013, the Bitcoin was valued $77. One Bitcoin worth $77. In 2021, last year, it was at 67,000 US dollar. I'm messing up English prices, I'm sorry. So yeah, 67,000 US dollar last year before the crash. So now the Bitcoin is valued about 20,000 something. It's still like the price for buying like really lots of pizzas, right? Bitcoin will not be doable without the blockchain. I will not enter the details here. I'm trying to be a bit faster because I'm afraid that we lack of time. If I'm too fast, just tell me, please, and I can slow down. Okay, I will slow down. So just let's say the basics, because I want to speak about digital real estate. This is the reason why we are here. The blockchain is the infrastructure that's allowing the transfer of this digital data from one point to another. So it's the way to transfer Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, but it's also a way to transfer various digital items. The ones that has been the most popular lastly are what we call NFTs. NFTs is short for non-fungible tokens. So actually, most of us remember NFT as an image, digital image. It's true. An image can be a data that you will send from one computer to another, but there is much more things. Actually, non-fungibles are things that cannot be broken into pieces. If you take, I don't know, sand, or if you take money, you can always divide it in smaller pieces, right? But if you take a car, you cannot remove a piece of the car, otherwise it's not moving anymore. It's not a car anymore. So that's the idea that's behind NFTs. And what's interesting with NFTs is that they democratize digital ownership for a piece of art, for in-game items, and the NFT marketplace are providing interfaces to trade these assets freely. And here we go, back in nowadays Metaverse. So in 2020, the new generation of video games is based on the blockchain. These are games where you can buy and sell in-game items such as clothes or some funny bag or whatever, shoes for your character. You will pay that in cryptocurrency, and you can also buy a plot of land on which you will build a house or you will build a shop for the other internet users to come experience your vision of the metaverse. The two most popular ones are Decentraland, where you can buy and sell estates, variables, and names that will be recorded on a blockchain. And Sandbox is another very popular one. Basically, it's kind of the same. You can open your shop and start running a business in a virtual world. The global pandemic accelerated the development of the metaverse. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about time. Do you know if there is someone else after this? Because if there is not, I don't need to speed. Thank you.
Some agenda here.
Cool. And so, yeah, Facebook announced that it was renamed Meta. This gives a big peak of visibility to the metaverse. And
40 minutes. 40 minutes.
okay, cool. Thank you. We have time. And so, yeah, Facebook announced that it was renamed Meta. This give a big peak of visibility to the metaverse. And, okay, cool. Thank you. We have time. And so, yeah, Facebook announced that it was renamed Meta. This give a big peak of visibility to the metaverse. And And Snoop Dogg, the famous rapper, announced that he was building a house in the metaverse to throw up big parties. I don't know what's the most surprising. Is it Snoop Dogg creating a mansion in the metaverse, or the guy that just paid $500,000 US to be the neighbor of Snoop Dogg in the metaverse? That's quite crazy, right? And I believe that, yeah, it's a way to be famous and make some money somewhat out of your famous neighbor. In Seoul, the capital city of South Korea, in the middle of the pandemic, we had the local government that announced that he was creating a metaverse platform. So public services started to be available on the metaverse. In particular, you can see here the Ministry of the Culture that is interacting with its young population online in the metaverse. You can see the mayor giving a talk online in this virtual world, and the gathering of all the institutions, banks, corporate companies, all the big sponsors of the public policy that jumped in the metaverse in South Korea last year. And then, yeah, of course, after these big announcements, more artists and brands joined in. And this year we had the Fashion Week happening in the metaverse. Just like the usual Fashion Week, you had influencers that came to show up with their new outfits. You had fashion shows showing up the new collection of the different brands. You could have some shops on the metaverse as well to go with your character, buy some virtual clothes. And you can see here the commercial plaza where most big brands of the world are represented. JP Morgan predicts the metaverse will be $1 trillion yearly opportunity. I don't know if we have reached that investment, but for sure it's the birth of a new economy with a lot of investments. So this brings us to our topic, digital real estate, finally. Yeah, so actually that's the moment where I should tell you I'm not a financial advisor, okay? I'm just giving my opinion here. I think that something happening, and if you want to invest your money, you should consult real financial advisors or do your own research, of course. So let's start with a few pain points about the first time buying real estate. Usually something that's a bit annoying is you go from 0 to 100% of your debt capacity, right? When you have to buy your first flat or your first house, usually you don't have investment in real estate, but you have to spend the whole money that you can afford from the bank to put it all in one single asset. And that's kind of stressful experience, of course, and also a bit risky. We used to say that real estate is not speculative. Well, if you pay with a bank loan for a value that's supposed to be something in 15, 20 years, it's always a bit speculative. Of course, we could use investment funds to invest small amounts of money, like buying, I don't know, 500, 1,000 zloty in real estate. But usually it's diluted into funds, and you don't really control where your money will be spent. And well, reselling your house is always very stressful. Usually you have to wait to have a potential buyer to be able to check something new. So you need to have a clean house, but then you have to rush in finding a new one when someone wants to buy it. It's always quite a complex experience. So all these things are potentially being solved by metaverse real estate. In the metaverse real estate, you will find everything like the usual real estate. You will find agencies, you will find lands to build, architects. You can have a mortgage if you cannot afford it. You can also buy prefabricated houses, and of course you will find all-in-one services from companies. Starting with the agencies, we can see here some brokers advertising in a TV show about buying real estate in the metaverse. The price rose up 700 times in 2021. So they say, like usual real estate agent, it's the time to buy. You should buy your property now. And so, in fact, some companies are proposing the usual real estate agency services. So they ask you, what kind of property do you want? Is it for a house? Is it for a shop? Is it for an exhibition center? Do you want it close to the waterfront, close to the riverside? Do you want to, something small, medium, or very large? You will find all these usual agency services on the Metaverse as well. If you want to do it yourself from the scratch, you can also afford lands. This one is the map of Decentraland. And so all the gray squares are plots of lands in this virtual city. It goes from less than 10,000 US dollar to more than 90,000. And so, you have all kinds of investments. I guess the ones who are paying like the very high price, they have money to invest. They want to make something, let's say, a bit hype in terms of customer. And so they are usually clustering together. Same for the ones who pay the, let's say, the cheaper price, probably because they just want to have a funny house and not put so much money into it. So we start to have the same phenomena that we can see in real world cities, actually. And then, the most popular architects are joining in. This one is called Zaha Hadid. I know it in France because she built a very popular museum in Marseille in the south of France, but she's one of the biggest architect agencies in the world. And she designed here a virtual city for the libertarian micronation called Liberland. I don't know if you've heard about Liberland. It's close to Czech Republic. It's some people who are trying to build an independent state, they now have their city on the Metaverse that has been designed by this wonderful architect. You can see there is commercial plaza, the city hall, exhibition space, the startup incubator, and actually I had a meeting. So it's live, and you can join quite easily. I had a meeting with one of the owner, I guess, of this project. So I met him online in the city hall, I guess. That's really interesting. You don't need no headset, nothing. You just connect to your usual computer and you can join it. This one is another big project by a big architect studio that's called Bjark Ingels Group. It has designed the headquarters of Vice Media. And you can see how it is. It's a funny building, a bit more cartoonist. And you can just walk around and interact like if it was a website. You have content from the Vice brand, and that's a good way to experience the Metaverse. Now, if you cannot afford the project yourself, you have a good idea of Metaverse shop or a house in which you are sure that you can have the best DJs playing the best music on weekends. You can still afford a mortgage, and you will refurbish. You will refund your buyer by monthly rates. The one who's doing that is a company called Terra Zero, and they are proposing now 2 years terms. So you have 2 years to refund their purchase that they are doing for you, and they usually give you the money on the business plan that's attached to the property. And then they take automatic monthly payment from your crypto wallet. So that might be a way to start. Of course, you could find shops or lands to rent, but still for your branding, it's also a good idea to own your proper real estate instead of renting it. And then if you don't want to call an architect because it's too much work or it's too expensive, you can also afford a prefab house. What I haven't said here, but I can say it here, is that I guess the average project amount is about 18,000 US dollar, something like that. So it must be, I don't know, something like 800,000 zloty, 900,000 zloty, something like that. So it's much more affordable than real-world real estate, and then you can start to make some profits by renting it or by having some brand that is selling some items inside. These kind of prefabricated houses are available as NFTs on the usual NFT marketplace. And of course, you have companies that are providing everything in one solution. So if you just have some money to invest, but you don't want to make all this work of buying it and branding it and leading the project, you can call someone that will make the project for you. You can see more and more of marketing agencies now doing that. I don't know what's the name of this one, but this one actually, I'm not advertising necessarily for them. It's called Metaverse, but it's quite funny what they do. That they build a full digital twin of the globe, and so you have the whole world that's online. You can and so you can check the buildings, and you can afford let's say one virtual shop in the virtual New York or London, Paris. And then you can start, at your real-world location or anywhere else. You go on the map, you click on the building that you want to buy, you buy it or you rent it, and then you can start running your online business in this virtual world. And look what I found. Quite interesting, right? Warsaw. Warsaw is there, and it's available. So we could, for example, that's quite funny, I discovered that, yesterday, to be honest. We could, for example, buy the Palace of Culture and Science and decide to start a new business that will be available worldwide. People could join us for some events, fair trade or parties, whatever. We can do what we want. So you just go on the map, you click on the building, it gives you the information. So we have now the size of the land of the palace. And then, I guess you have to follow up with the company, telling that, you are buying it or renting it for some time. So that's really funny. And that's a few words about us. So we are called the Land Ministry. The startup's called the Land Ministry. We don't primarily do metaverse real estate. We are actually working on tokenizing real estate. So the idea is more encrypting real-world properties on the blockchain. So then we can split the ownership in between multiple owners. For example, if we like this room all together, we could buy it, and then each of us will receive some of the rental revenues from the rent of the room. So that will be a way to trade real estate globally more easily. It's a good way to democratize the access to capital. And I would say that the thing that everyone is understanding as a punchline, that you cannot afford a full house maybe, but you can still afford a piece of it and enjoy the benefit of a stable investment. This is our roadmap. We are here now in October. We did the branding, we did the team building. Nadia is here with me, helping me with all the communication. I am Julien, the one that's driving this business. We have one Bulgarian developer called Glenn that is doing all the full stack development and the coding. We should join a startup accelerator very soon, actually next week. And the idea is to have a first MVP by December, to have a first use case in February. I'm very much thinking of buying a first flat in Warsaw, if it's doable, and then we will split the ownership to a series of investors that will own pieces in a flat in Warsaw. That's the plan. That's last week presentation of the demo recorded for a hackathon. So that's the code that we're in now. It's prototype, but still, I hope in some months we'll have something much more user-friendly. That's me with the help of Nadia, trying to be an influencer on internet to say, hey, look how real estate will make me rich and this kind of things like people want to know, of course. We are giving good insights about how all this is working actually. So if you want to know more, you should follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. It's all the same name. It's the name of the company. It's called Land Ministry. And that's it. Thank you very much.